They don't have audio. Zak Butters said he didn't say anything, and he says he's got Ollie Wines and other Port Adelaide players. How do you solve this one?
Hello everyone, welcome to Eddie and Jimmy on this Monday after a hugely spectacular gather round and plenty of controversy as always. Brought to you by our great friends at Fiji Airways. I can tell you everybody is getting on board as the Middle East drama continues. Why not go to Fiji for your holiday this year in the middle of winter and straight into North America. You can go straight from Melbourne to Nandi, a little break there, or if you want to actually have a week or something, then into Vancouver, into San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Dallas, where you can hub to the rest of the world from there. It's a really great opportunity. As I said, One World Partners, Fiji Airways, Paul Scurry and his team, thank you for your support. And Hyundai, wonderful supporters of a number of teams, particularly Carlton, of course, in the build-up to Collingwood and Carlton this week, but they have stuck through thick and thin with the Carlton Football Club. They've been wonderful sponsors in football. They're our sponsors here. Thank you, Hyundai. Now, let me welcome my great mate, Jimmy Bartel. Go, Jim.
Hey, Ed, have you fully gathered or have you regathered or have you pulled up from all the Merlots being swirled over?
Oh, no, I was in and out. I was a bit of a hit-and-run job. We did the show from McGuire and Vale on Tuesday and then went to the Star of Greece for dinner afterwards, so it's just magnificent. And then I was there till halfway through the second quarter of the first game, Carlton and Adelaide, and I had to make a hasty retreat to the airport to get back for NFL meetings here in Melbourne on the Friday, and then watch the Pies on the TV, which we'll get to in due course, I'm sure. But watched a lot of footy over the weekend, like everybody else. I think I did it well as far as a pundit is concerned, in that I was up to my ears in it. I've obviously been involved in a lot of the discussions early on. Was at the dinner with the AFL, so there's a lot of business goes on at that Penfolds dinner, and then back, and I was watching it, and then watching the interview of the round done by my son with Zak Butters, which we'll get to in due course. But let's just quickly touch on gather round. I thought it was a mighty success. I thought it was the circuit breaker that football needed. I thought that it brought together everything we love about the game, whether it was close to grassroots football, whether it was just the celebration of the game, the fact that everyone there was so excited to either host or to be there as guests. I thought the footy was pretty good over the weekend. There were some good stories. The facilities held up beautifully, and I totally agree with Premier Peter Malinauskas in saying that he needs to now have a run at it. So give him a bit of a run at it. What's your thoughts on it? You were around the place?
Look, I didn't go this year. I've been to previous years, and I completely agree that South Australia presented itself extremely well, and they put on a fantastic show. And even to highlight that, it wasn't the best weather. It poured rain nearly for all the games, apart from one. But you can tell the energy, the excitement from the fan bases. Even when you see people who were wearing footy jumpers for teams that weren't even playing, it belongs in Adelaide or South Australia.
It does.
It does, because Victorian people can drive. It's close for Western Australians. It's not that far from the northern states. It belongs there. They embrace it. They put all the energy and effort. They sell it well. And I know in previous experiences, the second you get off the plane or you drive into the Adelaide CBD, it's activated really well.
And it's a completely different experience to going over for a home and away game, where you're the enemy. They're actually there saying, thank goodness you're here. The other thing is, I've been lucky enough to host that the Gather Round Spectacular on Channel 9 on the Tuesday night. And last year it was this year it was at McGuire and Vale, and last year it was down at the what's the other wine region? I'm gone mad. Barossa. Down at Barossa. And the year before that, when we first did it, it was at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. And the idea was that this opens it up for everybody, but particularly in these regions. Now, the pictures we did from Gather Round Spectacular, the South Australian government used for tourism. That's how good they are. It opens up a whole new tourism platform for them, which is largely what this is all about. Now, Peter Malinauskas, who almost transcended politics. There was none of this, the Malinauskas Labor Party or anything else like that. It was about South Australia And I think he went back to being South Australian Premier, as opposed to something that irks me when I hear news reports of, the Albanese government. No, it's the government of Australia at the time. It is the government of Victoria, not the Allen government. All this sort of nonsense that's going on now, a little bit more bipartisan and leadership goes a long way. And I think Peter Malinauskas did it. Now, I'm disappointed that the AFL hasn't got to a position. Now, I'm not in the meetings, so maybe Peter Malinauskas is half trying to lowball. But what I do see is, as always in the AFL, the second person in, right? It's always the second person who narks up, and you get done for retaliating, don't you? In a fight on the AFL grounds.
What are you referring to here?
Well, I just think that I totally agree with Peter Malinauskas that the opening round, which is a complete reaction to the success of Gather Round, is too close, right?
Yep.
It'll take away from Gather Round. Now, what Andrew Pridham at the Sydney Swans is putting forward, I agree with the concept. I don't agree with the timing, right? So all in with what Andrew is trying to do, and I understand why, and you've got my attention and I'm with you. But I think we have to be very careful that in doing all these things that we also don't blow up the homeland. Now, a lot of people, I heard your radio show this morning, you're saying is footy on the fritz. Well, Collingwood will play at the MCG for the first time in 5 weeks on Thursday night. They haven't played another Victorian team since St Kilda 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, since opening round.
Yeah. Right. So, and that was sort of jammed in. So it wasn't really opening round. It was opening round plus here's the big hitters to get us over the line. So next year we have the sesquicentennial test, and I think we have Grand Prix sesquicentennial test. I'd love to see the opening round of football, round one, with everybody playing there. And I've told you what I think our round one should be. And then we can pick the right time of the year to go to Queensland, for example. Probably not cyclone season would be my first guess.
Yep.
But also for Sydney. I mean, Sydney's a dynamic town. There's plenty of reasons to go up to Sydney. So let's do this. Now, I was always, narky, but when people used to have a crack at Anzac Day with Collingwood Essendon. The reason why Kevin Sheedy came to Collingwood to play that game was because he played in the game in 1977, which was Richmond-Collingwood at the MCG, which was 90-something thousand on Anzac Day. And I stood right on centre wing in the southern standing room area and watched one of the great games. It was also significant because Tom Hafey's first game coaching Collingwood against Richmond. And if the Pies won that day, they'd become the first team in VFL history to notch up 1,000 victories. All of that came to pass, including Kevin Sheedy kicking the ball the wrong way at the first bounce of the third quarter, straight to Phil Carman, much to my delight. And I think I'm the only one who remembers it, and I remind Kevin of it every time we see each other.
Joe damn well.
No, we have a good laugh about it, because that was the genesis of Anzac Day. Now, the point being is that those two teams, the next Saturday week, Anzac Day will be full at the MCG, even though Essendon haven't been much good. Finally they had a win. We'll get to that. But it sets the scene, and it becomes something absolutely fantastic. It grew organically because the first game was the draw, but the first game attracted about 120,000 people, of which I reckon 105 to 110 were inside the ground. They said there was 90-something, but they kicked down the gates to get in, and outside there was just as many again out there. Another 10 or 15, 20,000 people who couldn't get in went and watched it in the pubs. That works because it works. Gather round is exactly the same. We need to come up with something different. But to sort of be saying to South Australia, we haven't thought through Tasmania. Well, that should have been thought through when Tasmania came up. Originally, the idea to do something like that in Tasmania could work. Now, there's other ways of doing it. You can play the last round of practice matches down in Tasmania in the build-up. I don't think until they build the stadium should they have a gather round. They haven't got the facilities. And I don't think they've got the facilities necessarily in Sydney to be able to do all these things.
So what ground you'd use? You'd use North Sydney, which is a fantastic oval.
Yeah, possibly.
You use the SCG. You've got Accor Stadium and you've got Giant Stadium. So you've got 4 venues.
Probably gonna. But my point on that is,
and even Manly, something like that.
V'landys would go flat out at it. News Limited would go at it, right? Because News Limited is a different beast in Sydney than it is in Melbourne. we don't need to. What we need to do is go back to when Collingwood played Sydney, won out and got 85,000 and had a record home crowd cash register for the Sydney Swans, where the next week the Premier of New South Wales rang me and offered me $5 million to play Anzac Day in Sydney. We're able to extrapolate that out to a $50 million redevelopment of the Southern Stand for AFL members, which saw the money go through the entire system. So my point there, Jim, is this. Come up with something fresh.
Yep.
Come up with something that works. But guess what? If you eat caviar every night, what happens?
Get sick of it.
You get sick of it very quickly. So why don't we just do a big opening, round one, and give people what they want, i.e. access to their teams after having not seen them play for 6 months. Make it a 500,000 attendance for the round with games in Perth, Adelaide, Sydney and Brisbane against each other, and all 10 Melbourne teams playing in Geelong, Marvel Stadium and the MCG, and let it rip.
Yep, and stop outsourcing the fixturing to overseas because...
No, well, there's no feel. That might work, as you say, Jim, but it doesn't work. The feel for the game doesn't work.
Yeah, it's exactly. We're in vigorous agreement, Ed. You highlighted a few things off the top, and I asked you before you headed over to Gather Round. I know you spent till Thursday halftime of the game, but there's a lot of conversations happen at Gather Round. Just painting the picture for our listeners, it's where you get all the people in one spot, and when you're in person, conversations can get accelerated. So what was the main topic of discussion? Was it regarding opening round? Was it, can we do like having an opening ceremony, which is a different thing altogether? Selling wildcard round came up. It's Andrew Pridham's idea of launch round. Was it actually something to do with the NFL, which you came back to have those discussions? Or was it really football stuff, father-sons academies, or was it something that we don't know about? What was the?
I think all of
been spoken out the side of the mouth.
I think all of it was there, and I think a lot of it was straight out the front of the mouth as well. There's look. There's no doubt that everyone has got the fritz with the fixture. Now, I hate to claim to be Nostradamus, but how long have I been saying that for?
Put the fix in the fixture is normally the thing that you say.
Yeah, well, there it is, and this is the point: is you can only hold on to people so long if they're desperate to jump off a cliff before you lose the grip, and then they jump, and then. Once they're off the cliff.
Can I give a simple thing that's coming up this week, which I know on our Thursday show we'll talk about?
Yeah.
If you're wanting to promote the game in the northern states and you've got a battle of the bridge, GWS and Sydney, why would you have it as a Friday double header against Geelong and the Bulldogs?
Yeah, well, I'll see you and raise you. If that's the case, why would you put the grand final on at 2:30 on a Saturday afternoon? I mean, but this is what drives me mad. I wonder sometimes whether I'm going mad or everyone else is.
They're doing
but I look at all the self-interest. Now, a lot of the reason why the game didn't go to nighttime was because the Herald Sun doesn't want to do it because it cocks up their Sunday paper, the publishing times to get it out in the street. Okay, now that was the old. Now these days, the Herald Sun have just put up the price of delivering a paper to your house, so maybe they're heading towards a digital future anyway. But again, what are we doing? We're at cross purposes all the time. So I look at Gather Round and see, finally, we knocked off the idea from the NRL,
Magic Round,
right? But we have turned it into something great. And you know who largely the great architect of that was? Peter Malinowskis. So, why don't we just say, you beauty, we've got that one right. Just like Anzac Day, you beauty, we've got that one right. Just like Easter Monday now.
Yep.
Right? Geelong and Hawthorn, beauty, we've got that one right. Let's turn that from 85 people going off their brains to 95,000 every year for those two teams. Whether they're up or down or whatever, there is now a body of work that says that's the game. Sydney, right? We took Collingwood up there and got them 85,000. Well, why wouldn't we say, right, this is Sydney weekend in a split round in the middle of the year where Sydney's a great place to go to and take two big teams. Now, that could be Adelaide, it could be Carlton, it could be Collingwood, it could be whoever you want, and go up there and play over a school holiday period. GWS and Sydney Swans keep everybody up there and make it a huge game. And as you said, play it on Thursday night or Friday night or Saturday night and give them all the exposure of the big guys coming to town for this huge match. And when Sydney keep telling us they've got more supporters than Collingwood, okay, well, let's have the two biggest supported teams then go at each other and do the same in Queensland. And you know what? Surreptitiously, quietly under the cover of darkness, West Australia's done that. They did a deal with North. They stay over there. Now, if you put another team in there, you can do the same with that. So every month you can actually have one of these great things, including rivalry rounds here, etc., etc. But the fact that we had a round where no Victorian teams played another Victorian team, the fact that Collingwood has not played a Victorian team since round one is just totally ridiculous. And forget it's Collingwood because of my connection. The box office. Now, as it turns out, you know, the fact that Carlton have been, you know, going the way they have, but showed a bit on the weekend, and Collingwood's been going a bit rough. Turns out that, you know, it's going to be a hot game on Thursday night. Yeah, but it is. But because it's Collingwood and Carlton, it works. And the week after, it'll be Collingwood Essendon, and between the three of them are probably, you know, going to be in the bottom quartile of the ladder at around that time. Or at least two of the three will be, which two we're not quite sure yet. But they'll still get upwards of 180,000. Those two games will be the biggest attended games in the world in that 2-week period. This is what we're playing with. It's unbelievable. But we don't hear of it.
No.
And when I said to the AFL during the week, I said, why do you get all that, you know, that vision of the Hawthorn supporters screaming when they won against Geelong?
Yep.
Go back 1 minute, you had the Geelong supporters going berserk. That's not a bad promo, I would have thought. Did we see a promo anywhere about the passion of football, how big it is? Or do we just, you know, let everyone rip at the game because of own goals? My point.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. The discussion quickly out of Adelaide was regarding selling a wildcard round. Laura Kane said this was not happening. She said they're finals. They're
not finals, are they? They're qualifying finals.
Well, yeah, that's still finals.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
The wildcards, they're set up now. It's the highest ranked team will be hosting.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you reckon it's always...
Don't compromise it any further.
It's always conditioning. I reckon they put that out there to see what the reaction was, and everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Well, I heard Damien Barrett put out that they should play the showdown at the MCG. Well, which just goes once again to my point that maybe we need to drug test the media as well.
No, well, I actually think...
No, I know what you're saying. No, I agree with what he's saying.
The issue with the showdown is the showdown should have its... The last couple of years, it's been on when another game's been on.
Yeah.
It should be in its own space.
Yeah.
Whether you put that on a Friday night, or if you're going to do it Saturday night, don't put another game on for that Saturday night.
Well, I thought that was the idea of playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon.
Again, body of work. And as Ed McGuire just said 5 minutes ago, there's a body of work. That one works.
That one works. How about we leave that?
How about we leave that one alone?
Let's make it bigger. It's called the blockbuster syndrome. I think I spoke about this last week. Just look at the things that work and go, let's throw more at it. Okay? So what did we do with the finals? Now, this goes back. No one ever got why we had that week off for the finals. It was to actually build up the appetite. Now, the journos all scream because they have to do some work without a game on, and they're all getting tired and they're planning their Bali holidays, right? And everyone runs around in circles. What it did is it transformed a lot of those elimination finals from games that used to get 30, 35,000 people to Hawthorn and the Dogs playing in front of 96,000. Biggest crowd they've ever played in front of other than the 1961 grand final. We're breaking all sorts of records when you set it up properly. People miss the point. It's like, when they're talking about, the afternoon grand final, and they said, we've listened to the stakeholders, and who are they? What's this mob called?
The Fans Association.
The Fans Association. So the Fans Association have been able to get a win in their mind, which will end up having somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million fans not watching the grand final on TV. Am I missing something?
Yeah.
Anyway. I came in really positive on the footy today too, so I don't want to get too down.
Well, do you want some?
I want to say this. Gather Round was an absolute success. It was grouse.
It was.
It was fantastic.
I love it. Can I give you some cheekiness then?
Yeah, okay.
The GWS Giants social media manager is now, of course, in charge of the Tassie Devils, Jacob Gaynor.
Right, okay.
Cheeky Instagram post. Of course, there was lots of rain at Adelaide Oval. Put up, Adelaide Oval is in desperate need of a roof.
Yeah.
I thought you would enjoy that being a roofman.
Well, but if I was building Adelaide Oval from scratch, guess what it would have? It'd have a roof.
Collingwood merchandise tent.
Well, I want to make money. But yeah, is that sort of the start of the Tasmanian? We don't need to have the stadium or the roof.
I think he was just being very cheeky.
Yeah, no, he's cheeky and very good. That
Jacob, yeah.
Is it Jacob, is it?
Jacob Gaynor.
Gaynor. Jacob Gaynor, you're a star. You do a great job. I love it. I love the cheekiness of the banners and things like that. Well done. He gave me a clip the other week.
He gave you a bit of a drive-by.
Gave the Pies a drive-by on our home ground, which was interesting, and good on him. I don't mind any of that. Okay, but I hope we're not getting softened up. I just hope we're not getting softened up.
Nah.
For not building this stadium. Now that's getting very expensive. Has there been an update on the budget, just by the way?
Not recently.
Okay.
Well, no, most recently, no.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, there's very happy Essendon people out there. They won a game. 17-game or 323-day losing streak, beating the Demons by 45 points.
Now, can I ask you this? How did you feel?
Happy.
I felt relief.
Felt good for him.
I just felt relief. I just thought, oh, thank God we can go in on Tuesday night for footy classified and Monday for you tonight and here on the show today. We just relax and talk about the Bombers and,
I don't death ride sides. I'm not.
Nah. I mean, it was just great. It was a good win too.
Good win.
Yep. Everyone who needed to play played well. Parrish, who hadn't had a kick, played really well.
2 metre Peter.
Merritt was great. Peter stood up.
Ben McGuire played well.
The young kids came through. It was good. Everything, fantastic.
It'll be good for him.
The D's, living up to their reputation of doing a victory lap if they win the toss.
You saying they did they went down Media Street?
Slightly ahead of themselves.
Oh, they go down Media Street, did they?
It's not like Melbourne.
No, they were certainly well coached by Brad Scott and a bit outclassed on the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to talk to you about this next one because we can go down many paths with this. Because on the surface, it seems like a pretty simple thing, which we're discussing Zak Butters, who played another excellent game, even though the Saints were too strong. Saints got out to a decent lead. They came flying back, Port Adelaide, kept boxing on. There's a free kick given away, and then, of course, the resulting 50s as well. And we caught up on it with Zak Butters being reported by the umpire for umpire abuse.
Mm-hmm. Alleged,
of course, which there has been no audio picked up on the umpire's mics, and I will give credit to Xander McGuire. I thought his interview with Zak Butters, and well done, Zak Butters. I thought he actually interviewed really well post the game.
Yep.
So just to bring our listeners up to speed, he was reported. It gave away a free kick in a big moment of the game. Of course, as Port Adelaide were trying to make the comeback, St Kilda steadied. Whether it has a result in the game, you be the judge. But then Xander asked...
So just on that, it was a 50-metre penalty for abusing the umpire, which took Silvani from outside around 60 to...
Yeah, made an absolute certainty.
Yeah,
at a crucial point.
And he kicked the goal. Well done.
Yeah.
So Jack Silvani played a great game.
He did.
Yep.
But great getting the interview by Xander. And I thought Zak Butters' answer was very good.
Yeah.
Because Xander asked him the question. He said, look, I'm still not sure what I've said. I went and approached the umpire to discuss it, like I think he used the word, what humans do.
Yep.
And he waved me off, which is the umpire's discretion. But now it's become, we're starting to get more information. There's no audio picking up on the umpire's mics. We find the umpire probably wasn't facing the direction of Zak Butters. Zak Butters even highlighted the fact that Ollie Wines was nearby and a number of teammates who said, well, he didn't say anything that was untoward in the heat of the moment. So the other element that is going to be raised, and this is not an opinion, this is going to be
raised. Well, this was raised immediately on social media.
Well, it's been raised in news circles as well.
Yeah.
The umpire.
Yeah.
His daily employment, call his 9 to 5, is with a corporate bookmaker.
Yeah.
And he doesn't work in football. He works in racing for the corporate bookmaker, but it was always going to be a ticking time bomb.
Yep. Well, you know why I go so hard on the on the drug code, which we haven't come back to, which the AFL put out on Thursday night of a game with Thursday night football on, and announced the grand final and Kylie Minogue all in one mix.
Can I just say one thing quickly?
But two things I've always said though: drug code, betting, no good.
Yeah, and I just want to make this as very clear, because when we talk in these microphones, you have to be very clear. I'm not accusing the umpire of anything.
Of course not.
I'm just painting the landscape.
Oh, these are the facts.
Yeah. Right? There is no accusation of untoward behaviour from the umpire, but it is certainly going to be a talking point.
So this has come up in the past about umpire foot's profession.
Yes.
Okay? Everyone's allowed to make a quid. But I'll go back to another point that I made a long time ago, and that is I believe that the umpires should be full-time.
I do too. I'm a big believer in them.
For a number of reasons. We talk about can't get the kiddies to umpire. Well, maybe if they went and umpired
AFLW,
APS,
Coach League,
the ACC, the Associated
South
Catholic
Australia,
that I used to play in, and you get around and you have a senior. Back in the day when I played, right, at school football, we used to the VFA umpires used to umpire our games because they were pretty full-on games. And I remember having umpire Benny Vagona there with the tight shorts on, and you go out and he, whistled, and you saw him on the Sunday telling Phil Cleary and Fred Cook to step aside and all that sort of, Buster Harlan and these guys down at Port Melbourne. They had real authority. Now these days, if you had a young umpire umpiring those games, or at least a senior umpire going out into these things, it makes perfect sense to me. Now, you don't have to have everyone being full-time at these situations, but you could actually, because there's a lot of guys who are actually professionals. We've had pharmacists, we've had a lot in accounting, we've had people who are lawyers, etc. That's okay, but there's a lot of others. For example, come and be a full-time.
Yep.
Don't. I'll keep saying this. This is going to get on your nerves by the end of it. Don't stick your head in the lion's mouth and pull its tail. And expect it not to bite it off.
I thought you were going to do the meat grinder one.
Well, same thing.
I'll give you the response when I've asked people from the AFL. Yeah. They don't want to be full-time.
Yeah, well, guess what?
We want you to be full-time.
The AFL makes the rules. But as I said, don't have to be full-time. But let's get a coterie of them that are.
I'd like them to umpire in crews
let's get the guys and say, hey, working for a betting company probably doesn't pass, right? We've already had two major issues, compromising the integrity of the game, that still haven't been run to ground yet. So I'll say this again: we have a integrity department who do a great job. The AFL, with all intents and purposes, trying to do the right thing. The people who are honourable people, everywhere in amongst all that. Yet we have these half-assed rules on drugs, gambling, and these things. Just take the pain out.
Yeah, Make it easy. I'd like umpiring crews as well. So you work with the same group each time.
Well, if you had full time, you could have umpiring crews. You could have less of them because they would be able to umpire 1, 2, or 3 games a weekend. And as I said, if you actually position them in the right spot so they're not running 10,000 metres every game, you can actually get through that. But again, how many times do you have to say the same thing? And now it blows up.
How are they going to solve this one? Because they don't have audio. Zak Butters said he didn't say anything, and he says he's got Ollie Wines and other Port Adelaide players. How do you solve this one?
Well, you've got a similar situation with St Kilda appealing against Lance Collard for his alleged homophobic utterance a couple of weeks back. They still haven't been able to get to a position. Now, that went for 2 days. The tribunal hearing that went for 2 days, and they still haven't come up with a penalty yet. So there's a bit of gnashing of teeth there, you would have thought, because it's one against the other. Umpire didn't hear it. There's a complaint from a player. Now, the player said, has stood his ground and said, no, this is what was said. Collard said something different. This one's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Because you've got 3 players saying didn't happen. You've got no microphone, or at least you've got a microphone,
but no audio was picked up.
but no audio that's picked up. And then you've got an umpire who's, I don't think he made it up. He might have heard something, or I don't know what. Well, I don't know what happened. Somebody's got it wrong.
Yep.
But then it was a 50-metre penalty that allowed St Kilda kick a goal that iced the game.
Previous fines for umpire abuse: Liam Ryan fined $1,500 last year.
Yeah.
One of your favourites, Daisy Thomas, fined $7,500 for calling a boundary umpire a cheat in 2019.
But it seems to be...
And Dane Rampy fined $5,000, 5 suspended for telling an umpire he talks like a little girl.
I know, but see, again, we're sort of making the decisions based on someone being offended. Right? Now, I don't like any of it, right? I used to like our game when we actually went hard at the ball instead of, pushing people down afterwards and taunting them. And at the same time, don't abuse the umpire. Don't even talk to the umpire. It's the same when I was bringing the colonies to the boys. Just don't give them an excuse. Don't give them a reason to give a free kick against us.
Yep.
Okay? But, yeah. So you tell me, what happens?
Well, I don't know how you solve it. But now it's got to go through the official process, and we love to drag things out.
But again, I've found it fascinating that
if you're going to try and
son Xander was there, obviously doing the interviews, but you're saying it's got to go through a process, not a report. A report goes in. The umpire makes the report. I used to do this. This is what I did.
Yeah, it's a report.
I was 13. Used to go down. Used to get the sheet and look at it, and you'd fill it out. There is a template that they have to fill out.
Yeah, he's been reported.
Well, then the report should be that umpire Foot has reported player Zak Butters of Port Adelaide for alleged misconduct in that he abused the umpire.
And he should have
to final quarter of the match.
He's got to write down exactly what he says too.
No, not necessarily. All you have to do is say that, then they can come back. But you've got to, if the report's a report. Now, if he withdraws the report, then that's fair enough. But yikes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to ask you:
is 50 metres too much in that situation?
Well, especially if the report gets withdrawn.
Yeah.
That's actually why they've normally been a bit reluctant to do match day reporting.
Yeah, I know.
Because, it could look like something in the spare moment and it's not.
Yeah. I wonder if there'd been, because Zak Butters is the world champion for getting fined.
Yeah, he is the world champion.
But whether or not there'd been things throughout the course of a game and then it built to that.
Maybe.
But that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It shouldn't happen.
No, because you've reported him on that incident.
Yeah. But more importantly, you've given a 50-metre penalty on that incident. So that's one of those incidents you'd want to be really sure. You wouldn't want to be trigger happy on that.
No.
Anyway, let's see what happens. Let's give the umpire the benefit of the doubt as well.
Correct.
But yes, that has become... I was sitting watching it, obviously, and I thought, wow. Xander did the original report that there was audio from, I think, Fox Footy or something, where Seven got their hands on it. And I thought, geez, this is the biggest... This is such a big story. And to his credit, he got down and did the interview with Zak Butters. And as you said, I love the fact that Zak Butters wanted to answer the questions. And, I thought that was really good journalism. Well done to Xander. But fantastic professionalism from Zak Butters. Would have been, so I put to you, would it have been equally as professional from the AFL to let the umpire give his side of the story at that time? Because they didn't want it. But that's their protocol, so it's not like they made it.
Good question, that, because heat of the moment, probably sometimes taking stock of reviewing it in your own head. I would have loved to hear from the AFL or someone from the AFL, like the lead umpire who sits up in the the coach box, goes down, go, hey, there was an incident. Can you walk me through it? And then you can make a pretty generalised statement. Hey, we're going to investigate it because it's been a report. We want to give the benefit of the doubt for Zak Butters, but we still think it's something that's worth following up. That's all you had to say.
But if the umpire could have said, he didn't scream it at me. He turned to me and called me a effing cheating C. Then you go, oh, yeah?
Hang on,
50 all day.
But, just a little bit.
Well, all will be revealed. But
Eventually.
again, we have 3 days.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, do you reckon the Lions have been a little bit disrespected when it comes to AFL gather round? They've played in the Barossa in 26, Norwood in 25, Norwood in 24, and the Adelaide Hills in 2023. They have played in the last 3 grand finals.
Yeah.
You're okay with them not getting a run on the Adelaide Oval?
How many Brisbane supporters came to gather round?
I think a few. I think a few, but they've been a pretty easy on the eye side to watch.
Yeah, well, they've won every game they've played.
Mm-hmm.
It's fair enough, isn't it?
Well, you don't want to play on Adelaide Oval. They surely get a sniff at Adelaide Oval, don't they? At least once.
Probably. Yeah, they look, you probably would have played them instead of the Essendon game, really, wouldn't you?
Doesn't
Well,
bother
someone's
me.
got to move. Who are you kicking off?
Well,
Essendon,
I'm sure you could have found at least once in the last 4 years.
But again, mate, this is a promotional weekend. Mm-hmm. Put the big hitters on. Maybe the AFL go, yeah, you're getting a home game. You get a home game.
Hang on. So you're going to say they've actually thought about who's playing, what ground, and what time they're playing, but we just spent the first 5 minutes picking apart that they haven't thought about what ground, what time, and who's playing who. Well, so why would they actually think, you know what, we're actually going to put a little bit of thought into what we do with Brisbane Lions at gather round. We'll put zero thought and energy and effort.
Let me come back the other way.
fixture.
Let me come back the other way to answer your question. All right, next year they should play Adelaide on the Adelaide Oval.
Correct. Done. Lock it in.
Okay.
I'll lock in answer B. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, and maybe if you had a longer deal, you could actually work out a fixture that makes sense in that situation. What I'd love to see on that, because it is, as I describe it in my fixture, an exotic weekend. Okay? So under my fixture, you would play the 17 games against each other.
I think you're going to say what I'd like to see done as well.
Is what I'm saying?
Yeah. I reckon I'm just preempting you. I reckon I've been around you for a couple of years now.
So I go 17 games, and you have 4 exotics. You have gather round, you have 2 rivalry rounds, and you might have your northern exposure.
Yep.
Okay. And that gets you out to 21 weeks.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to get the same number of
same amount of games. Yep.
And then I'd have a different thing. But what I would do for gather round is I'd actually have a draw.
That's what I.
Yeah, I've been saying it for since it started. Wouldn't it be good? Now you half rig the draw. It's a seeded draw because you can't have Adelaide and Port Adelaide play.
Yeah, you have them in 2
So you have Adelaide, Port Adelaide, and you sort of work it out, and then you go through and you draw the, so this week, Melbourne would have been happy to draw Essendon.
Yep.
Until they got their pants pulled down.
Yeah, imagine it show that a footy spectacular, I think you should call it.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah. That you have Andrew Dillon and Peter Malinowskis put their hand in the barrel.
Wouldn't it be good to have something that's exciting for people to watch rather than the negativity of blokes getting rubbed out or abusing umpires and arguing about whether Brisbane should be there? We probably have to get to a situation as well where, we have to pull up on the whinging a bit.
Yeah, no whinging from me.
No, but yeah. So there's an answer. All right, give Brisbane Adelaide next year.
Yep.
Let's do it so that we fill all the big grounds up with teams that don't pull crowds, and let's cock the whole thing up. Make everybody happy. I agree with you. Brisbane are a good side.
You could have found them once in 4 years.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an oversight.
So we'll go back to your point and go, so why didn't somebody go, you know what, Brisbane have played in the last 3 grand finals, won 2 of them. Maybe we should put them up as is that why? Because we're supposed to be promoting the northern sides, aren't we? Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. It's outsourcing it overseas where they think Brisbane is a breakfast.
Fair enough.
Bartel Medal.
Bartel Medal. Who wins it? Well, Jamal says 3 to Bailey Smith, 2 to Isaac Heaney, 1 to Finn Callahan.
Pretty good votes there, Jamal. The votes are in. Horn Francis, who I thought was exceptional in the second half. Ben Keys, what a player he is. I've given Big Bill a vote.
Yeah.
I think his game on Josh Tracy was very good. Lockie Neal.
One turnover at the end, but it wasn't. A lot of people were bagging him for the turnover. I didn't think it was that bad a turnover. I think there was he didn't hit Elliott on the chest, but Elliott probably didn't get foot the ball quickly enough in that situation. And I thought he played really well.
I did too. Lockie Neal,
Yep.
Jaden Laverty's been an astute pickup for the Giants.
Yep.
Sicily, Cozzy, 2 metre Peter, Big Broads, your boy, Brody Grundy,
Yep.
and the Bont. And I've given Wizard Watson a vote. Probably could have given him 2.
Yeah, 2.
Luke Ryan from the Dockers, I thought he was great. Your boy, Nick Dacos, Luke Jackson. I've gone Bailey from the Lions there. He's a super player.
Yeah.
Big Mitch Lewis has been a great story. Of course, he's had all of his injuries concerns. Great to see Tanner Bruins form this year. Finn Callahan and Aaron Cadman. Aaron Cadman is so lucky his face wasn't caved in. If you see that incident again, Noah Bolter, you know when your knee is collected, someone you go, oh, that felt a bit soft. Like because he's hit Cadman's face. He put his hand up straight away and go, come get this guy.
Yeah.
He stood straight up and was fine. He was so lucky.
Heard he had his head caved
Yeah,
in.
so he'll probably miss a week.
Yeah.
Naz, Rochelle, young Archie Roberts was fantastic for the Demons. Isaac Heaney was breathtaking. Jack Ginnivan, John Newcomb, and Bailey Smith are the 3 voters.
Am I picking anyone? Did anyone from Kangaroos get a run?
No.
No.
I thought they were more even across the board.
Okay.
The leaderboard, Cozzy Pickett on 7, Max Gorn on 9, Nick Dacos on 10, and Marcus Bontempelli on 11.
All right. Did Bont get a vote?
Yep.
Give him a vote.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, they got flogged that, didn't they?
He was still pretty good. He was lone hand.
Fair enough. All right.
Oh, did you only just notice because did you get a vote because he's one ahead of?
Yeah. Geez, you're finding votes for blokes.
I found 10 for Nick.
Yeah. What's the so from all that?
Mm.
What's the story of the week? Zak Butters
Zak Butters will be the story.
and umpire foot.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to watch how deep and which way the media goes on this.
I'm interested in the statement from the AFL,
Yeah.
and you can play things straight without corporate speak and still have the same impact.
Yeah. And you can make a mistake and be forgiven.
Correct, 100%.
And it doesn't always have to, the fact that he works for a betting agency doing racing doesn't necessarily, but they'll have to come out and clearly articulate that.
Correct.
Okay. All right. But I don't know.
Yeah, again, there's no accusations being levelled. It's just that is what is going to be a talking point.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that the thing that frustrates some people is that when you say this for a long, long period of time and then it comes up and everybody is like a goldfish going around doing that one. Yeah, we told you the last lap this was coming. That's, and again, I'm trying now to be positive about things because I don't want to become a narc.
No.
But we do put up positive suggestions, and we've put plenty of positive suggestions about each of these issues every step of the way for a number of years, and we keep getting proven correct.
Before we go,
Yes.
can't believe we've got this. You Thursday to halftime, which meant you came back to Melbourne regarding the NFL.
Yes.
You got anything to share with
Oh,
us?
no, I had spent some time with Roger Goodell from the NFL, the commissioner. Super impressive guy. Had his a couple of his senior associates absolutely delighted with the MCG, understands what it means. The game is going to be spectacular. He was ostensibly trying to get flag football into the Brisbane Olympic Games, which is why he came down to Melbourne. He had a really good conversation with Craig Drummond, the new commissioner and chairman of the AFL, and Andrew Dillon, who both flew back in the morning and then flew back again. So, used a thing called aeroplanes. It's amazing how they work. And they did a very, very, very good job, both Craig and Andrew Dillon, who both of them were very impressive and impressed the NFL, who are very happy to do business with the AFL.
Good.
So the good news is the commissioner also mentioned that there are multiple games coming to Melbourne. So that is very good. And guess what that does? It gives your mate in Canada with his computer a good long period of time to work out, because there will be a game in September next year of NFL, and there's going to be a game in March of cricket on the MCG. In amongst all that, you could really do a fantastic fixture.
Just proofread your homework next time.
There can be a fantastic fixture.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, mate. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Okay. Hey, a special guest on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday's coming in?
He is.
Daniel Gorringe is going to be our special guest. He's coming to Old Man Media.
I love it.
Is that what he calls it?
Well, we're actually sort of...
No, we're sort of on the...
We're the old men in new media.
That's it.
Because these are new.
This is new, yeah.
We're old.
That's it. Well, you're not. I don't know if I am. Giving myself up that early. But look forward to having Daniel Gorringe on, who I think has been a breath of fresh air. Yes. I like the fact that a few people have got the brace and bits about him, which reminds me. He reminds me a lot of us when we started the footy show back in 1994. We'll have that discussion on Wednesday with Daniel Gorringe. Catch you then.